Welcome to Saturday's live stream, and we're gonna start with our first live of today, which is the 12:30 games. Dear me, cough's a bit bad today. Blame me. I had meningitis when I was 40, and I've only got one. I've got 1.5 lungs basically, so. If anybody does watch this on repeat, which I know they do, and they watch quite a lot of it, and I'm quite shocked. But we do try and go through things as they happen. We do try and bring them along as they happen, and hopefully, we manage to catch most things as they happen. Occasionally we don't. Occasionally we miss one or two things, which is really annoying. But as long as we have my tablet, my phone, the television in the background, we can get through most of what we need. I do tend to rely on one or two of the viewers to just give me, hey, you've missed a goal. And occasionally they come out trumps, they come out before me. And they come out before the radio. We're going to be going through League Ones first. We're going to go through Huddersfield versus Barnsley lineups, and we're going to go through the lineups. And then I will be going on to my connections to get my streaming information. It's not up yet, so we will wait for the streaming information to come through. I got iFollow from Barnsley the other week, and it didn't get released until right on 3 o'clock, and I'm like, well, I want to make sure I've got it so for the live stream. Anyway, Huddersfield Town. We start with Huddersfield versus Barnsley. It was Birmingham last week, wasn't it? Huddersfield Barnsley. We've got Chapman in goal for Huddersfield. We have got a back three of Brody, Spencer, Pearson and Lundvik. Now their defence did really well last week. What I meant to say in the prediction was Huddersfield hammered away at that back from the defence hammered away because they didn't give in. They didn't just hold back. They actually pushed Birmingham as Birmingham kept coming. They just kept pushing and making sure they didn't get close enough to get a close range shot. Certainly not from inside the box. They tried their best, and on most occasions they managed to stop it and push them back and make them go round and try the other direction. And I incorrectly said Huddersfield were hammering Barnsley. What I meant was Huddersfield were hammering that defence, hammering the attack as they kept coming forward, but Huddersfield just kept hammering them back and saying, get away, we're not going to let you in. And they did a really good job of it. So actually, it didn't come across quite as well. So anybody watching on replay, do apologise. I will, if I can, I'll try and find the name of that person and I'll put it in because it was really important. That was a really important comment there, I'm just seeing if there's anybody else. Yeah, it was Tony Cardle who commented it. So Tony Cardle, thank you very much. Very good comment there, and I appreciate all the comments. So who have they got? They've got then they've got a floater in midfield of Kasumu, and they got a midfield of Sorensen, Ben Wiles, Hodge, and Michael Miller. Up front they got Marshall and Radulovic. Now, you know what I think of that defence. It seems to sort of come in and Kasumu comes back, spreads out, and it just becomes a 4 at the back. But it was really, really well planned against Birmingham, and they could have and should have got more goals, Birmingham. But that defence was really solid. Really, really good. So what will Barnsley try and put up against that? Well, they're going to go 3-4-1-2. So they're going to try and attack it with sort of basically a triangular 3 at the front. Slanina at the back. They've got McGivney, Roberts and Earl in defence. In midfield, they've got Cotter, Craig, Connell and Gent. Georgie Gent. Right, okay. Don't seem to remember him being in it. Then up front they've got Keeler Dunn with a front two of Cosgrove and Humphreys, and you know they can do well there. So will they beat that defence? And like I said, you know, thank you to the Huddersfield Town fan. Tony Cardle, because I did get that. I didn't quite get it across right in the prediction video. What I meant was that Huddersfield's defence was hammering away at that Birmingham attack as it came forward, and they were just refusing to let Birmingham into that box to make those close range shots. Didn't quite come across like that, did it, in the prediction video? So Tony Cardle, well done. Yeah, gold star for you. Didn't come quite across. What I meant was that I was really impressed by the Huddersfield defence. So the Huddersfield set up there, yeah, I can see how that defence could cause quite a lot of problems for Barnsley. It certainly did for Birmingham, even though well we know Birmingham. We believe Birmingham would have won, but we were all thinking that Birmingham would win by more than that, weren't we? Really. Stevenage versus Peterborough next. We'll go up into the Championship in a minute. If you're all wondering where the Championship team news has gone, I'm doing League One first this week. I keep rotating it. Peterborough at the back with Steer, and then they've got Curtis, Fernandez, Wallin and Sparks, and then a staggered midfield of Poku, Collins, O'Brien, Brady, Hayes and Mothersill, and Jade Jones up front. And then Stevenage have Cooper at the back, and with a 4 back of Wilding, Thompson, Pergini and Butler. And there's staggered mid of Roberts, Thompson, Phillips, King and Reed. Oh, great. 2 Thompsons, that's going to be a good, isn't it? And up front, Jake Young. I'm going to be getting confused there, aren't I? So Peterborough, 4-3, they're both playing 4-2-3-1. Okay. I think that's actually pretty evenly matched, I think, from that. So that's going to be quite an interesting one. The Huddersfield Barnsley certainly is. That's a Yorkshire affair if ever there was one. We just go into the Championship there. There's 3 games in the Championship. We go for Burnley versus Preston. Now, Preston did really well last week. Burnley just aren't clinical enough. They needed to get more. Those final shots just weren't powerful. They weren't precise. They weren't technical enough for me. They should have had more of those shots. Should have been better quality, and they're an ex-Premier League side. They should be better quality, especially if they want to get back up. Preston, on the other hand, were just they were just a really good technical side. They weren't overly technical. They weren't sort of top 2 class, but they were certainly very good for their money in midweek. And I liked the game. I thought that Preston played extremely well. So let's have a look at the lineups for the Burnley game. Burnley are going 4-2-3-1. Trafford at the back, Humphreys, Egan, O'Reilly, Esteve and Perez at the back. So that's an extremely strong back line, isn't it? A staggered mid, the 2-3 part of Colosho, Cullen, Mebry, Brownhill and Anthony. So yeah, a nice, good, solid midfield. Lyle Foster up front, which you can't really complain about. But we need that precision in that final ball. If Burnley are to do well today, they need to make sure in front of their home fans that they can produce a clinical final ball. Keep saying it. If you don't shoot, you're not going to win because you're not going to get goals in. You're not going to get goals. If you do shoot and you get it on target, you've still got to be you've got to be more clinical than their goalie is and their defence is. So you've got to, if you want to be at the top in the top 6 or in the top 2, as Burnley would hopefully want to be, you've got to make sure you're clinical. And at the minute, I'm not too sure about that. What Preston going to do to try and cope with this? Because this could be a ding dong of a match, and I can see this being quite a push. We've got Woodman in goal, Kessler, Hayden, Lindsay, Story and Hughes. Decent back four. I don't think it's as strong as Burnley's, but it's a decent back four. A staggered mid of Potts, Whiteman, Jensen, McCann and Brady. Again, a decent top half championship side. And Reece Jacobson up front, who I think has been showing how good he can try and control that front end and who's moving with him and aside of him. And I think he controlled that front half quite well midweek. So that is going to be. See, I still prefer the Burnley side there, but if they're not clinical up front, I think that particular side from Preston could quite easily take over the running of the game. Norwich versus Hull, and I say, Norwich were at the bottom for a reason. They've been getting a few, shall we say, lucky decisions, haven't they? They've had a couple of lucky decisions. I think there was one at the weekend, wasn't there? And then this one midweek where I'm sure it was a Norwich. Was it a Norwich guy? I can't remember which one it was that stuck his bum out. I think it was. Yeah, it was the Norwich guy. Stuck his bum out and got a penalty. When the other guy hit it and he fell on the floor, almost waiting for somebody to hit his bum. Whee! Penalty! Oh, please. So they're playing Hull. Let's see what they can do. Angus Gunn in goal. Fisher, Duffy, Cordoba and Doyle at the back. Ouch. Staggered mid of Konak, Nunes, Slimane, McLean and Saints, and Josh Sargent up front. And you would think that side should be able to cope with everything that we've got there, shouldn't it? Yes, it should. Will it? Who knows? For me, they've been getting the results on luck and partially on poor linesmen and refereeing. Let's see if the usual thing of the home side gets the majority of the good luck from the refereeing. I hope it's not. I hope it's a nice, even and honest refereeing and linesmaning this time. Hull City, Panda at the back. Now Panda did absolutely brilliant in midweek. Did you see some of those saves Panda was doing? Like absolutely phenomenal saves. It's brilliant. You can see why he's in the Championship. He can pull off some really cracking saves, can't he? And he's got a back four in front of him of Coyle, Jones, McLaughlin and Durame. So yeah, he's got a really good lineup in front of him. Wow, if he can control those four, Hull City could be doing quite well. And they are doing quite well. But let's see what they've got in front. Slater, Malin, and Zambrano, and then up front, Balumi, Bedia and Miller. So they're going for it. They're going a 4-3-3 against 4-2-3-1. And I think Hull City in 9th and on 12 points and Norwich in 10th on 12 points. You'd be thinking this was going to be a ding-dong match. It will be, I think, because Hull City are going to go for it. They're certainly going for it with a 4-3-3. Balumi, Bedia and Miller up front. One wonders and hopes that this time Norwich won't get sort of poor decisions going for them. I like decisions to be nice and honest and trustworthy and even for both sides, not just one-sided. And I think that Norwich have had a little bit of a a lucky couple of games there, and I think the judgments were a bit skew at best. But that's going to be a really interesting game. Now, the game that's local to me, I'm a Rotherham supporter, but the game that's local to me is Portsmouth. And poor old Portsmouth, they've really got to try and get back from that 6-1 drubbing. And the one thing that I've seen from the Portsmouth bench here is that they don't let their heads drop. And that's very, very critical in the Championship, because yeah, certainly my team, Rotherham, when we were up there, as soon as we got a drubbing, that was it. We'd spend 5 or 6 games rubbing us wounds and losing every game since. Portsmouth don't seem to do that, and that's a good point, but they still need a win. Where is it going to come? Is it going to come against an Oxford side that is absolutely on? I think they're on fire. They should be proud of their performance midweek. It was down. I enjoyed watching that game in midweek. We did a watch along, and looking at the Oxford game, it was a brilliant piece of work by the Oxford team. You would have written them off in the first half, but they just kept on going and kept making sure that they took the most from that game that they could. Portsmouth then, our last team to look at. Portsmouth is Schmidt in goal. We've got Williams, Poole, McIntyre and Oglivie at the back. We have a staggered mid of Sorensen, Pack, Sadie, Potts and Murphy, and Mark Mahoney up front. Want to see whether that works. I want to see whether they need to be changing the format and changing the game plan. Maybe if we lose here, then I think, or if they lose here, I think they need to be thinking about how they go forward. Do they change the game plan for the Championship? Because it's a similar idea as Southampton in the Premier League. You know, they're getting so far trying to keep the same style and the same game plan. They too will be thinking the same thing if they keep on losing and not winning. And it's the same for the Portsmouth team. Oxford, with coming at the back, we've got back 4 of Kioso, Long, Nelson and Brown. I think that's a bit lopsided actually. We've got Will Volks in midfield in the holding role. And then they got a flat 4 midfield, which I suppose goes with Will Volks being in the floating role. Edwards, Rodriguez, Mizuni and Goodrum. So I think and they got Mark Harris up front. I think Oxford's strength is certainly at the front end, which goes to, I think that sort of hints at how their back end seems to be just a little bit more open at times, and people, I've seen some of the top half of the Championship just be able to sort of get through that back line. Will Volks is more of a sort of attacking force, or he was with us. He's not really a defender. So I don't think having him in a sort of floating role and coming back into defence to make a 5 across the back really works with his style and his sort of how he performs. So it's going to be interesting to see how Will Volks just fits in there, because I think that back end just needs a little bit of a tweak for Oxford. I think that's where they're weakest. I think the front 4. Or the midfield 4 I'm happy with. Mark Harris up front I'm happy with. I'd like to see Will Volks get forward more, and he does sometimes, and whenever I see him getting forward, that's when I see the best coming out of Oxford. It seems to be when he seems to go from sort of middle over to one of the wings and try and cross it in. And he is been doing a good job at that, but when they're getting pressurised, he slips back into the defence, and I'm not quite sure Will Volks is one of those guys to sit in defence and just pound away. He had far too much time doing that when he was at Rotherham, because we were always defending. So we know what he's like in defence, but when he's like pushing forward, certainly it's like slightly towards the wing, he's a lot better, and he's a lot more at home with that sort of ability to just cross or fire it in. So we'll see how that one goes. It's going to be an interesting game. I fear that if Portsmouth lose it, they're going to have to think about changing their game plan. They can't go on with I mean, that side is not a bad Championship side. It should finish somewhere in the bottom half. Bottom 6, I wouldn't have thought so, but at the minute it looks like they're going to be firmly in the bottom 6. And my neighbours wouldn't like me saying that because I live in Portsmouth. But Rotherham fan living in Portsmouth, they're a long way away. But it's an interesting time. I mean, what do you think? What do you think about the Portsmouth method of play at the minute? Do you think it needs changing, or do you think they've got time to sort of try and play with it and try and make it work? So I mean, they started off with some really tough games, didn't they? Leeds first, and I mean the first 3 games included the 3 teams that came down, didn't it? And they really did get hammered. They got Burnley and Leeds first, and Sheffield United was soon after. It was really, really quite a cruel start to the season for Portsmouth. But I don't see anything changing. They seem to be just hammering away at that same style, much like I said Southampton did. And you have to fear the same for Southampton, don't you? It's how are they gonna? Do they go on? I'd love to know what you think. Do these sides that have a set game plan, and they want to make sure, they want to try and make it work, like Portsmouth, like Southampton, have they got time at this point in the season just to carry on plugging away and trying to make it work? Or have they really got to try and think about how they what they do going forward, and perhaps trying to change the game plan? Or is it, if you change the game plan now, are we really starting to see things as a bit of a panic change? Now we have. I'm going to give you 2 options. I mean, there's people. There was 2 people watching. We've got Portsmouth versus Oxford, or we can we can watch the Peterborough versus Stevenage. Not that one. The Huddersfield versus Barnsley. So, would you prefer we play the Portsmouth Oxford or the Huddersfield Barnsley? You've got a choice. I'll give you a choice. How about that? Choice for 12:30 in the morning. Oh, I hate cold coffee. Because you're about 2 minutes behind, you're a little bit behind me. So hopefully you'll tell me which one you prefer. But we're going to go at the minute. We're going to go with the local side, Portsmouth Oxford. And I better I'll log in, otherwise it'll ask me halfway through and cut my live off. Prefers that I log in. If I don't log in, it tells me off and cuts the live as I'm. So I think that one, and then we'll re-log in, and then we'll choose Portsmouth Oxford.
It's coming in goal. So Long, Nelson and Brown at the back.
So there's our. I went too far back. No. Oh, I hate it when I do that. I've still logged in. That's okay. So we'll be playing the Portsmouth game. So we are going with Portsmouth Oxford. It's really changing things around for me.
Team news of Portsmouth have made 4 changes in that half. Norris and Swanson playing a player around. Schmidt, Williams, Sadie and Sorensen come in. As for
So I'm happy Sadie started this time. I thought Sadie played quite well. So Portsmouth have made 4 changes, so that's quite interesting. So perhaps they will change the game plan there. We'll see. We'll see as they start playing. Get that out of the way for you, and we will be starting very, very soon. Yeah, 6-1 at Stoke. It's not looking good for Portsmouth, and Portsmouth have to try and win now. Portsmouth are 31-20 to win. Oxford are 13-8, which isn't that much difference. And it's a 12-5 for a draw. So it's very, very even here, as Portsmouth have just kicked off. Huddersfield and Barnsley have now kicked off. Here we go. Who do you think's going to score first? Who do you think's going to score first? I'm going to go for... Ooh. I think... let's go really, really random here. I'm going to go Preston. I'm going to say Preston for the first goal. Don't know why, because Burnley should really be... they're odds on to win this. But I thought Preston played really well midweek. And I think they are certainly one to be looking at. Let's go straight to the Portsmouth game then for you. And we've already had a Sadie shot off target for... that's the one. Portsmouth have a shot and it's off target. And Brown build now from for Oxford. And it'll be a corner kick. Trying to rouse the home side there was Regan Poole, who was just waving his arms around for this corner kick. Portsmouth have a corner. Let's see whether they can get this corner in so early. 1 minute 43 seconds. And we'll listen to this as it comes in. After we see what happens with this corner, it's Marlon Pat, the skipper, who's standing over here for Pompey. He plays surrounding the goalkeeper. That is an absolutely dreadful ball, but it's an even worse clearance at the front post. Oh dear God. Awful corner. Instead of going with his left foot, went with his right, puts it behind for another corner. So take 2 for Pompey. That could be open for a lot better, and he gets a right foot. The outswing delivery is much better. It's Murphy didn't quite get a shot on target there. Oh, it comes back in, and Mazzuni kicks it out. And Portsmouth are pressing, and Sadie in the box. Oh. Hang on. It's pointed spot. It's a penalty. Penalty to Portsmouth. Here we go, guys. And it's Portsmouth. Can they go ahead on 2 minutes and 45 seconds? It's a penalty to Portsmouth. And it's a really harsh one because it's come off Will Volks. Let's see this one again. The ball is bouncing around. It's not the greatest defending. It's flicked up. Well, it does hit the hand of Volks, who has it in a natural position. Volks, I don't know. That's not the thing we expected from you. It's been awarded, and it's Elias Sorensen, former Newcastle man, who is standing over this penalty. Let's watch this. Made by Pompey for this game. Can he find the back of the net and give Portsmouth the perfect start to this game? The referee makes Here we go. Outside of the area. Very straight run up, but it'll be a right-footed penalty. He runs up to it and hits it right-footed. Oh, it's saved. It's saved. It's saved. It's still Portsmouth 0. Oxford 0. And good save by Jamie Cumming. Elias Sorensen was going low down to the bottom right. Just wasn't quite in the corner, and the keeper goes bottom right, and he goes the same direction, and it's unfortunately still 0-0. goes way over from the third corner, and that was just so heartbreaking for Portsmouth there. They really had a chance there to get in the lead nice and early on, and unfortunately it's not going to be.
What a roaring start to the game it has been. Portsmouth awarded a penalty inside 3 minutes.
Just put that in the chat.
By Will Volks. And Jamie Cumming, well, stepping up when he was most needed for his side as he saves Elias Sorensen's spot kick.
Put that one in there.
The team news and the lineups for this game.
Well, would we have believed it? As Volks comes out on the far side and gives it to Edwards. Edwards into Harris. Oh, and Murphy grabs it, puts it to Sorensen. Murphy to Sorensen. Sorensen, Murphy. Sorensen. Oh, gets taken off in the box by Brown, and it's cleared out. But only as far as Williams, who comes back in. Can he cross it? Can Williams cross? No, passes it back to Potts. Potts now in the back. Potts for Portsmouth. Crosses it to the left. Ogilvy. Oh, gets crossed. Kicked out. Potts back in. Nelson again. Kicks it out. Pack this time for Portsmouth. Kicks it in. Nelson kicks it out. Sorensen gets it for Portsmouth. He runs into the box. Sorensen in the box. Crosses it, but unfortunately Nelson's there. Nelson kicks it out. My God, Oxford are doing all the kicking out at the minute. It's Oxford with the ball. Is that a corner? No, he's kicked it straight. He's managed to keep it in, kicking out. All the way into the other half this time. And Portsmouth missing that penalty. They're in defence. They kick it all the way to the left-hand side, far left, but Long grabs it for Oxford. And at the minute, it's all Portsmouth. Portsmouth are pressing and pressing. Missed penalty. They're good penalty, but the goalkeeper just went down on the right side and tipped it away. Volks now, the guy who gave away the penalty in the first place, kicks it forward, but Pack eventually gets it for Portsmouth. Sadie, Sorensen. Sadie and Sorensen linking up really well so far, but Nelson in defence again kicks it straight out for a throw in to Portsmouth on the halfway line. We're going to quickly go to some others. We must go to some others. We can't. There has been a goal in League One. There has been a goal in League One, and I'm going to go to the scroll first because it's not in the Huddersfield-Barnsley game. Our first goal is in the Peterborough-Stevenage game. And it is Peterborough. It's Peterborough 1, Stevenage 0. Peterborough are the first team to score, but there's also the odds came off of the Huddersfield game, but there seems to be okay at the minute. So Huddersfield now. Huddersfield are well in command of this game. 77% possession to Huddersfield, and Huddersfield are now on their left-hand side at the halfway line. They're going to try and they've got a throw in. Let's just follow this as Huddersfield are slight. They're almost evens to win this game against Barnsley. Hodge kicks it for Huddersfield backwards, but Huddersfield somehow missed their own back pass, and it goes out for a Barnsley throw-in in quite a dangerous position. Barnsley now have a dangerous throw-in on their right-hand side, right in line with a penalty spot, just further back. So we'll wait and see what the Barnsley throw-in gets. Sometimes they throw it short and sometimes they throw it long. You can never tell with Barnsley. They're throwing it short, but Hodge gets the second touch of it and is running through them, kicks it forward, but Slonina eventually gets it in the Barnsley goal. So at the minute, it's all Huddersfield. Huddersfield evens at the minute. Let's have a show how many shots At the moment, no shots to either team, but 77% possession to Huddersfield. And we have our first goal. We have our first goal of the... In fact, we have our first goal in the Premier League. Liverpool are now 1-0 up against Crystal Palace.
It's not dealt with by Oxford, though. They get him behind. Is that ball going to be kept in? No, it's not. I think that goes behind. The ball does end up at the back of the net.
Portsmouth are pressing very, very hard at the minute. Missed penalty there. I mean, what a pain. It was a good penalty, but just saved well by Oxford there. Let's go for the Norwich versus Hull then. Let's just go stats first. And no shots yet. Norwich have 56% possession. Very few, one dangerous attack each. This is ridiculous. This is the game seems to be played with 9 minutes gone, and the game seems to be played in the midfield. As Mellum comes up for Hull City, one of the few attacks. And Portsmouth there doing well. Another attack as Hull. Now, cross it in, and Drame has a shot, but it's off target. And Hull City have won. Finally, the first shot of the game's gone to Hull City. And Hull City, off target, gets now a goal kick to Norwich. All of the game seems to be being played in midfield. As Norwich City try and feed it out to the right-hand side, but a Hull City player kicks it out. Managed to get a foot to it. Fisher. Duffy. Corner kick for Oxford there in our game. This is one of the first attacks for Oxford, to be quite honest. In fact, it is their first corner. Portsmouth have already had about 4 or 5 corners, and a penalty. As Hull City will take a throw in from halfway through their own half, throw it forward. Duffy kicks it down the right, but Sargent gets the second ball. It looks like make sure he gathers that second shot and pulls it in, pushes it towards Saints. Saints has a shot, but it's off target, and it's a Hull City goal kick. So we're starting to just see a couple of shots now. I think this is this where the game starts to open up at Norwich City? Well, possibly. It does look like it. We haven't.
Well, the referee brought this back when the ball was squared.
Just listen to this one.
Played that ball was just caught a tad late. Very, very harsh, I think, there to give that as a free kick. But the referee brought it back. Otherwise, Pompey would have been a very good opportunity to break forward and a potential score, winning that possession on halfway.
So Burnley versus Preston. We've not been to this one. So here we are with Burnley. Let's go to the stats for this first. Burnley, 63% possession to Burnley. Preston look to be managing the situation quite well. Most of it's been played in midfield again, so we'll see. Well, Humphreys back to Riley for Burnley. Burnley playing it in midfield. Humphreys, Cullen, they're certainly playing it in midfield, just like we thought. Humphreys, Riley, left hand side to somewhere else. Brownhill, back to Riley. This is just mind-numbingly boring at the minute. Humphreys, Foster, Cullen. It's all midfield. Burnley back to defence. Riley, Trafford belts it forward, and Lindsay kicks it, but only as far as Foster. And then they kick it forward to try and pass it a through pass, but Hughes eventually gets it. Brady for Preston. What can they do? Well, they lose it to Mebry. At the minute, it seems a little bit.
has an overlap who he finds now in Williams, in Kioso. Kioso then puts a low ball in. That one is a double deflection.
Oxford are coming back.
Kick for Pompey.
Oxford are starting to press a little bit more now as Burnley cross it in, but Woodman grabs it. Excuse me. Woodman grabs it and it's fed out from the back. So Preston will try and build from the back. At the minute, Preston aren't quite getting any further than the halfway line. Burnley are playing it in midfield 90% of the time, not pushing forward. And when they do push forward, they tend to get at least a cross in, but they just can't get anything close range. Very much like midweek, I think, where they were just held off, so they couldn't quite get that good close shot off. Jensen, Lindsay for Preston. I'll stay here for a second, see whether they manage to get past that halfway line. Jensen, they're not getting past the halfway line. Back to Story, and we're back in defence again. Back to Woodman. And hang on, up the left to Hughes. Can Hughes do anything? He runs across it. We've got into the opposite side. Passes it right to Jensen. Back into the right hand corner for Hayden. Passes it back to Potts. Story. Jensen again. Little triangle there of 3 players. McCann comes in. Passes it to McCann. Left hand side now to Brady. Crossed sides. Can they put it into the box? McCann on the edge of the box. Potts in the middle. Oh, Perez grabs that one. But it comes back and McCann has a shot and it's off target. And Preston just getting there, finding their feet there. And down the down the right hand side. Back across quickly to the left hand side. Bang into McCann. And a shot off target, but you know it was a well planned one side cross, and it was a game plan that you could see. It's one of those typical ones that you see on the training field, isn't it? So we'll come back out of that one. It's still 1-0 to Liverpool. There's still the only goal is Peterborough Stevenage. We haven't actually been to that one. We'll go to Peterborough Stevenage. And Thompson for Stevenage has been substituted already by Freestone. So let's have a look at that one on my other app, because Brian Brady scored on 5 minutes for Peterborough. I want to just see why they took off Thompson on 11 minutes. So we're going to the Sky app, which is pretty good for the reasons. Yeah, so unfortunately Thompson's been injured for Stevenage. Which Thompson? N. Thompson. So the defender. So one of their defenders has been injured and taken off for Stevenage and replaced. That's quite. That's a bad part of the game. 11 minutes in to be changing your defence is not good. But we know the manager is probably quite good with that. Oxford attacking. Jesus, Pompey, stop being so giving it away in the wrong area. As Oxford get it, belt it in.
Now Edwards manages to win this one back for Oxford. It's a very physical game. It's good to watch though.
Physical game. High feet. So Portsmouth admit a start to this game on top, missed the penalty, and all of a sudden Oxford are starting to. And there's been a goal in the Championship. And it's Norwich City that have scored it. Just update the ticker here. And it's now Norwich City 1, Hull City 0. And it's gone from being a rather drab game where most of it was being played in midfield. The first shot, I think, in anger was for Hull City. Excuse me. And Norwich have indeed gone to the event and scored. We may be able to see, yeah, it's Nunes that scored it. So Nunes on 16 minutes, which was literally 2 minutes ago.
Ball into the area, great ball here, it's taken down, and then off balance was Rodriguez. Don't think he realised he maybe had a bit more time. I have to say the defending is absolutely woeful from Portsmouth. It's a lovely ball clipped in, but Rodriguez
Portsmouth are
into the penalty area,
not doing well at the minute.
Where he tries to control this one with the inside of the right foot, sort of gets away from him slightly.
Again, Ruben Rodriguez, Oxford midfielder, having plenty of time, but just not realising he's got all the time in the world to just slot it in the net, and he sort of fell over as he hit the ball. So that wasn't very good. And Portsmouth are looking shaky now, which is a shame because they were doing really well. Let's go to the Huddersfield Barnsley game. This was the other game that I gave you the choice of whatever they're listening to. You can always swap. Got it in there.
A grapple on this game, just as I say that, trying to play out from the back, and they've given away possession with a throw.
Barnsley have let's see the stats for it before.
It's towards the edge of the area. Murphy with a shot.
Barnsley at the minute have, right, this is interesting. Huddersfield have 64% possession, no shots, none on target. Barnsley have 36% possession, 5 shots, 2 on target. So we can see who's doing the best with the ball when they've got it. It's Barnsley, as Cosgrove comes up for Barnsley. Oh, Lundvik kicks it out to Roberts for Barnsley, and Roberts gives it to Connell. Connell to Earl, back to Ghent. Forward, but Huddersfield grab it, intercept it, and it's with Hodge, Lundvik. They're going to try and go up the left-hand side, but De Givney grabs that through ball by Huddersfield. De Givney for Barnsley, passing it along the back line now. Towards Edwards. Edwards then trying to get past 1-2 players as he brought down. He is in the end. A free kick, actually, I think.
And then Murphy, who was tracking back,
We'll see where this goes.
Just flicks out the leg, I think. And just
free kick to Barnsley.
Off the number 29 Edwards. We'll see this one again on the replay.
We'll see what Barnsley do.
I don't think Murphy makes contact. I think Edwards' foot, the boots his studs get stuck into the turf, and he sort of jars.
Back to Slanina. Connell. So Barnsley are pushing it forward. Bash comes back, kicks forward. Oh, crikey. Ping pong ball. Don't like this. Longvic ends up with it for Huddersfield in their defence. Goalkeeper back to Spencer. Pearson. Longvic on the left hand side for Huddersfield. Huddersfield can try and build on the left hand side. Pearson, Kasumu, Huddersfield just playing it along midfield. Longvic. So this is where all their possessions coming from, isn't it? Passing it along the back half of the pitch as Barnsley kick it out, throwing for Huddersfield. Intercepted kick forward, but Huddersfield grabbed that, pass it to the opposite side, the right hand side, but Sorensen having a bit of a kicking match there, but Ben Wiles manages to come away with it, and he crosses it. Sorensen, Marshall shot off target, comes back out to bounce off a defender to Cotter, and Cotter can try and come out with it for Barnsley. the fourth corner of the game there. When was that? Cotter, Cosgrove, Barnsley trying to just pass it along the back now. Will they? Oh, they pass it forward. That was a dreadful pass, and Sorensen just walks away with it in midfield and passes it to Hodge and Ben Wiles down the left-hand side. Passes it in, and Marshall has a shot on target, and Huddersfield are now starting to turn the screw, I think, at home here. And a corner. Let's have a quick check. Yeah, another corner to Huddersfield.
Just wondering if he was going to try and put the long one into the area,
but yeah, it's looking like Huddersfield are starting to use the possession and actually bring the comes out and Kasumu shoots and good cross in there, but Kasumu is equalled by the Barnsley keeper. And we go up to another corner for Huddersfield, and we'll see how this one goes, because at the minute, how many have we had in succession for Huddersfield? 2 so far, but one a minute ago. Before that, as a Barnsley keeper kicks that one out, and it only goes as far as Hodge, past him, but Roberts gets it, kicks it out. Humphreys gives it away to Kasumu. Humphreys, what are you doing? And Spencer passes it to Spencer, and Barnsley are committing Harry Kerry at the back. What are they doing? I can't believe that Barnsley's defence are just...
Still coming forward into the penalty area. He goes then, right-footed shot. Oh, and it's tipped away by the keeper. What a brilliant save. And what an absolutely outstanding run that was. It was actually El Mazzuni who had done all of that work. Well, Pompey just never stopped him. There was eventually 3
Oxford there running straight through the Portsmouth defence. And, dreadful.
And an excellent save by Nicholas Schmid. Down low, full stretch to his left-hand side. And he tips
Oxford are turning the screw at Portsmouth as Barnsley start to... build again but with Humphreys at the back.
Corner kick now to come from Oxford with Volks. It's edge of the 6-yard box stuff there.
Corner into Volks. Miller intercepts it, crosses it, but Connell managed to grab that. And there's no connection between the Barnsley defence and the Barnsley midfield. It's just non-existent. There's defence kicking out.
Coming forward now is Williams. He's on the right corner of the penalty area. Dinks one into the area. That is dreadful from Williams. Absolutely dreadful. Has halted the momentum in the attack. An easy clearance away. Pompey still have it, but Oxford have now flooded back.
Kasumu for Huddersfield. I keep listening to the Portsmouth game, of course, but it's just... that was an interesting one. Barnsley had a throw in their own half. Threw it out. They gave it to a Huddersfield player who kicked it straight back out in the same place. And Barnsley will have another throw-in the same place. But there's no connection between the Barnsley defence and the Barnsley midfield. They throw it into midfield, and again Hodge grabs it, intercepts it for Huddersfield. And Huddersfield are now pushing again. And we've got another goal at Norwich. As we listen to this, we're listening to the wrong games here, aren't we? Norwich now Huddersfield attackers shot. Radalovic has a shot, and that was short from the left-hand side for Huddersfield. And Norwich 2, Hull 0. We'll put that one up first. And off for a corner. And Huddersfield aren't looking like it's not looking like will they score. It's looking like when will they score. Barnsley they just haven't turned up yet. As it crosses in, but nearly gets to it, but Barnsley clear it, but only just outside the box. Keeler Dunn. Oh, jeez. Can they get it out of the box? Barnsley just trying to slow this down now in defence. Can they get it to midfield? My question is, can Barnsley get a ball into the midfield players? Because at the minute, it ain't happening, and Barnsley are just passing it around at the minute between the defenders, and it just looks painful as we come out of that one. Still Liverpool 1-0 up away at Crystal Palace, if you're interested. Still Peterborough 1, Stevenage 0. We've just been listening to Huddersfield, looking at Huddersfield Barnsley. We're listening to Portsmouth versus Oxford. Let's look at the Norwich, because this is where the goal's just gone in. We'll have a look at who's scored it. So Nunes scored the first on 16 minutes. Josh Sargent scored the second on 20 minutes. So that was actually quite shortly after. So as soon as we went into the Huddersfield game, Norwich scored their second. Oh boy, we're on a Oxford are pushing this, aren't they?
Playing out from the back, not being good enough to do that. There's a reason that you're second bottom in the Championship.
Yeah, there's a reason. Don't play from the back if you're second bottom in the Championship. Yeah, we tried that at Rotherham and it doesn't work, believe me. Panda has it for Hull. Passes it to Jones at the back, and let's see if Hull can do anything. No, they just kick it out, but passed it, but it was a poor pass, and it goes to Norwich. Ooh, Oxford again. That's a poor defensive header though by Pompey, but then it's an even worse attempted quick ball forward. As Pompey have possession back with their goalkeeper. And the 5:30 game, by the way, in the Premier League. Seeing Everton take on Newcastle at Goodison Park. So, which game shall we're on the Norwich versus Norwich 2 Hull 0 game, and Norwich pass it into the centre circle, but Hull City intercept that one. Slater for Hull City, just tapping it as a little triangle in the centre there, and the Hull City trying to just get. Oh, that was an interesting one. Passed it to the left, to their left, but then Norwich City tried crossing it straight to the opposite side to their own left, and Coyle grabs it for Hull City, and looks like that's gone out for a corner to Hull City. So that's a quick one side, other side, and kicked out by by Norwich. So Hull City have a chance. Will they do anything this time with a 2-0 down? So they do need something. Hull City have actually been offside twice now in the last couple of last few minutes, which has been interesting. But Dunn eventually gets it and passes it out to Doyle on the left. 31 minutes, Doyle loses it to Slater. Tries running past him, but he gets it tapped out, and it's a Hull City throw-in. Quite dangerous position. And Hull City will try to push this into the box. Looking at the other game, still Huddersfield 0, Barnsley 0. Short to plays it short, but Doyle grabs the short pass there and kicks it out. So at the minute, Norwich City are firmly, unless I'm looking at stats for you, as Maylen grabs it and kicks it into the box, and McLaughlin shoots, but Gunn manages to gather that one. A lame shot, perhaps, then as Gunn takes a kick from the back. The stats are 61% possession to Norwich, 6 shots, 3 on target for Norwich, 2 goals, 4 shots for Hull, 3 on target, no goals. So not clinical enough Hull City this weekend. Let's go to the Peterborough game. Peterborough with a goal on 5 minutes from Brian Brady. Phillips now for Stevenage in the centre half. Well, just poor pass, and Peterborough will have a throw in on halfway.
Relatively small fees under £1 million. And then free transfers, Louis Sibley.
Curtis for Peterborough. Poku trying to approach the box now for Peterborough. And looking at the other games, not yet. Still just those 2 games with goals as Poku gets it back. Back to Fernandez. Fernandez now playing it back to defence, and Walling eventually gets it. Then Collins passes it back to Sparks. They're on the left hand side at the minute. Little triangle. Walling, Sparks, a couple of 1-2s. Tries passing it down into the middle, but that through ball caught by Phillips. Pass it to Pergini. Pergini for Stevenage. Well, is it forward? Right hand corner. Young crowd plays it down the middle, and he has a shot, but it's off target. And it was a good little bit of play by Young, but not too good. And Oxford has another corner kick. Let's go to this. Let's go and listen and listen to this game for a minute, because see, Oxford now have a corner. Can they do from the corner now? 36 minutes played, 0-0. Outswinging delivery, it's headed up and wide though by Sal Long. He was under pressure, couldn't get over the top of it, never got off the floor. It's an easy one for Pompey to deal with as Schmidt plays a ball downfield. Maybe a bit too quickly though, doesn't anyone really waiting Ogilvie on that for Portsmouth.
Playing a bit of head tennis, there's been a lot of that in this game at times.
I don't like the head tennis. There's been there's been head tennis in a couple of these games, to be honest. We look at the Barnsley game. The Huddersfield Barnsley game is the one I was really interested in, and Huddersfield just don't seem to be letting go of that game. The Barnsley just don't seem to be able to get anywhere with it. Portsmouth pass it forward, but Cumming grabs it. Yeah, Cumming gets that one. Passing on among defence.
Really think that Nelson wanted it there, and then a crossfield ball is out towards the right hand side where Edwards has not controlled it well. He's given it away, but then Pompey have given it away. Now a long ball downfield over the top of the defence. There's an opportunity here. It's Harris in behind. No, he can't bring it down.
Schmidt gets that one.
The ball just skipped away from him. Nearly. I think he's very frustrated himself, Harrison. I think he should be, because the ball is a really nice one. It bounces once. It just
Nelson injury for Oxford.
Harris, he has to kind of check his run a little bit.
Oxford have an injury.
Well, he was right in behind, and it would have been a one-on-one situation.
So what minutes are we on? 38 minutes at Portsmouth, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. We started off well for Portsmouth with a pressurising enough to get a penalty. Handball by Will Vault, and indeed they had a good shot. It was a good penalty, to be honest, but the goalkeeper was equal to it and drove the right way, to be honest, and had a good tip round the corner and managed to save the penalty. So after that it became a one-way traffic, and at the minute it is Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0, but Portsmouth are under the cosh at the minute.
We're going to see replays of where it could have come. So when he tries to clear away a ball and he's under Sorensen.
So we have
Quite sure really what's going on here.
injury to Nelson. We're still waiting.
Not coming over to get some fluids on board.
I can tell you, if you look at Nelson, he's on the ground and he's been looked after, you know.
Sunny day at least. Getting into the
It is sunny down here, yeah, he's quite right.
winter, aren't we? So
It's quite cold out there, but it is sunny.
getting sunshine is always appreciated. Just over 39 minutes gone. It's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Looking at this
It
game
is.
in terms of what it would do for both sides. With a point, of course, it would extend Portsmouth's
They're waiting for the. Well, let's go out because they're waiting for the injury there. It's still Burnley 0, Preston 0, Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0, Norwich 2, Hull City 0. It's still Huddersfield 0, Barnsley 0, but Huddersfield are just peppering the defence of Barnsley. Barnsley just about holding on. Whenever Barnsley get it back in defence, though, they just can't connect with the midfielders for some strange unknown reason. And Peterborough 1, Stevenage 0. So we have. Let's go to the Huddersfield Barnsley game. This is the one that I'm interested in because 40 minutes and 30 seconds, and Slanina has it for Barnsley, and he runs it out, kicks it to Cosgrove, who loses it to Kasumu. A bit of a ping pong header ball again between the two, and Barnsley get it, kick it across, and Barnsley are offside. And it will be a free kick to an offside kick, if you want, to Huddersfield. And Huddersfield with Kasumu. Back to Pearson. He does it short to Pearson. And he gives it to Sorensen down the right hand side. Radanovic, who's been playing quite well. Sorensen now back to Kasumu and kicks it in, but the Barnsley goalkeeper grabs that one. But he tries a quickie, and Ben Wiles has a quick shot, but eventually gets it and has a shot off target. What on earth they think they're doing there? Anybody's guess, isn't it? So shot for Ben Wiles, and it will be a corner to. It must have got pass kicked out. Huddersfield kicked him, but Slanina kicks it out only as far as Spencer. Their defensive structure. It's Ogilvie now down the left, puts the ball into the area. It's headed away though. Sadie had no intention of trying to jump for that header, and then again bit of head tennis, but it's given away. There was Pack has it now. The Pompey skipper around 25 yards out, still coming forward across the field. He's running with it. Now he finds Poole. Poole out to the right side. Slanina for Barnsley. And Barnsley will play out from the back. The ball back towards Poole, who's continued up there. He's right in the corner flag. And double deflection is off there, Poole. And Barnsley are now actually managing to play in midfield, which is one of the first. Connell gets it back. Oh, Connell into Cotter. Cotter on the right hand side in the corner. Passes it. That was nearly there, but it just trickled over, and it's going to be a Huddersfield goal kick. Barnsley there, nearly having a chance, just not quite good enough there, and unfortunately, it's just took too long in it because an Oxford player came and nipped the ball away, and then Pax just tried to get it back, and he's just kicked into him slightly. That's that. And Mark Harris doing some good work. He does go down a touch easy there, Harris, I have to say. Pack couldn't believe it with the head on the Barnsley have a dangerous throw-in now. Barnsley have managed to just get themselves into the opposite side, and it's 43 minutes and 48 seconds. This is really good timing to score. Let's just follow this as Barnsley throw in from their left-hand side, and it's a really good chance if they can get it into the box. Will they throw it long or short? Last one was short. This one's long to Givney. No, and it passes it, but Miller gets it for Huddersfield, and one of the Barnsley players tries a clever pass, but it's a Huddersfield throw-in. And we have Barnsley there. Oh, Barnsley intercept that one, but Pearson kicks it back out to Givney. Givney gives it to Pearson. This is header tennis again. Roberts, Gent, keep the ball for once. Keeler Dunn, who loses it, but Connell gets it back. Gent, Sorensen kicks it out. Barnsley throwing. We're on 45 minutes. It's 1 minute injury time, and Barnsley are attacking in the last minute of the first half. Get that from. I've seen it. Get it from the screen.
Punches this one away, there's near post coming, then there's another sort of flick volley away, it's nodded back towards the edge of the penalty area.
Barnsley just don't seem to be able to do anything with this. It's back to Huddersfield again, and we're going to be 30 seconds away from the final, from the first half. But they lose it to Cosgrove. Cosgrove loses it to Pearson. A header tennis, for God's sake. Gent. Come on, Gent. You're on the left-hand side. Cross it in. No. Feeds it backwards. Gent still with the ball. Backwards again to Roberts. And they've lost the momentum. Roberts trying to go forward on that left-hand side, but he just can't do it. Craig crosses it, but it's a catch by the goalkeeper for Huddersfield. As we go to half-time, and it's half-time. Huddersfield 0, Barnsley 0, and Barnsley, I think, are the happier of the sides to see it at 0-0. Let's see which ones have finished for half-time so far. Huddersfield have finished. The only ones to have finished for half-time. We'll go to Peterborough then. Peterborough now. We've got a minute and a half left at Peterborough as Stevenage, midfield, Thompson, Pergini. Pergini back to Thompson, Freestone. On the left-hand side now, Butler, Freestone. Back to Thompson. Right-hand side to Pergini. Just having a look where they can get up now. Stevenage still. Wilding crosses it in, but Steer is up to that one. And Peterborough can try and build from the back. It's looks an interesting game, to be honest. It's very, very even Stevens, this one. Peterborough are winning 1-0, but the rest of it is very, very even. Stevenage will go in disappointed that they're 1-0 down, I think. Pergini for Stevenage. Runs forward. He's got another 20-30 seconds. Well is it forward, but Fernandez gets it, and Sparks for Peterborough. Like Curtis, Collins, Poku, yeah, they're just passing it round, waiting for half time now. Back to Collins, yeah, they're going to play out the last few seconds. Fernandez back to the goalie. Peterborough just waiting for the whistle to go now. And hopefully, yeah, that's it. 1-0 half time for Peterborough at Stevenage. So Huddersfield 0, Barnsley 0, Peterborough 1, Stevenage 0. That's the League One half times. Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. That's half time. Burnley 0, Preston 0 is half time. Norwich 2, Hull City 0 is not half time yet. 59% possession to Norwich City. They seem to be not having it their own way though, because it's 8 shots to Norwich, 4 on target, 2 goals, 7 for Hull City, 3 on target, no goals. So Norwich have scored 2 goals from 4 shots on target. Hull City have scored none from 3 shots on target. So it's just who's more clinical than the other, isn't it? But they're not having it all their own way, and the 2-0 scoreline would suggest they are. And they clearly aren't. So that's an interesting one. Is that over yet? No. We're waiting for half-time whistle. It's 3.5 minutes of 3 minutes extra time so far. And we will just wait for that to come through. And that's going to be it at Norwich. So we're gonna just replace this with a Be Right Back, and we will see you again in a minute.
Still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Vaulks. Up steps Elias Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant run and dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score in the opening 3 minutes when a Sorensen, but he sees his firm effort into the bottom right corner, tipped away by Cumming. As for Oxford, their best opportunity to score came through El Mazouni. A brilliant running dribble by him into the area, right-footed shot into the bottom right corner, was tipped away. At the break, it's 0-0. Half-time at Fratton Park, and it's Portsmouth 0, Oxford 0. Pompey still searching for their first league win of the season, and they got a gilt-edged chance to score. In the 3 minutes when a penalty was awarded for a handball by Will Hawks.
Right, let's pull that one back on, and we'll take that one off. Welcome to the second half, and we are, I tell it to remain on. We have so far, we are still in the second half. Yeah, we're not started yet. We have Burnley 0, Preston 0, and Burnley are in the driving seat there quite firmly. And Norwich City 2, Hull City 0, but it's not actually as clear cut as you might think. It looks like it's a clear cut exercise, that, doesn't it? And actually, well, it's not as clear as you think. It's actually quite even. It's just that Norwich City have put in the net more of the shots they've had on target. The pair have had about the same amount of shots on target. Quite a decent number. But Hull City just don't seem to be getting them in the back of the onion bag. So unfortunately, it looks more one-sided at Norwich City than what it really is. Obviously, the Burnley game 0-0 looks quite even. It isn't. It's well into the Burnley. Yeah, Burnley are certainly on top on that one. Portsmouth versus Oxford, and that's the game we're listening to. Portsmouth they came out of the blocks really, really quick, and they were really, really strong, and then all of a sudden they got a penalty. Well took penalty, but well defended by the goalkeeper, and it was saved by Oxford. Since then, since about 5 minutes after that, Oxford have had the ball nearly all the time. Let's have a look what the I've not looked at the stats for possession. 54% possession to Portsmouth, but I tell you what, it's all Oxford on the attack. Portsmouth just don't seem to be able to get into the final third anymore. Every time they push forward, they leave a gap at the back, and then Oxford just seem to just scythe straight through it. So you look at the stats and you think, oh yeah, Portsmouth are slightly ahead. No, absolutely not. They have the ball, and they have the ball more often, but Oxford are well on top in that one. We go to Huddersfield Barnsley has now started, so we can we'll go to that in a minute. Huddersfield are well on top, and Barnsley just don't seem to be able to connect between the defence and midfield. As soon as the Barnsley defence get the ball off Huddersfield, they seem to play it around the defence and then lose it as soon as they try passing it forward. So not very good there. Peterborough versus Stevenage actually is extremely even, and Stevenage will go in thinking, why are we actually behind? Because as they've just kicked off, Peterborough 1-0 up against Stevenage. Sparks for Peterborough, and Peterborough, look at the stats, it's sort of 50-50 at the minute. 5 shots, 1 on target for Peterborough, 7 shots, 1 on target for Stevenage. It's pretty even. So as Peterborough started the second half in the and it goes out for another throw in, but it's Stevenage this time. Let's see if Stevenage can do anything. We'll turn that down because I turned that up. So Freeston for Stevenage. Oh, pass it forward to Young, and Fernandez intercepts that one.
What's that Jamaican coming on? Gregory Lee onto the field of play then in place of Ben Nelson.
So Ben Nelson off and Gregory Lee on.
There, trying to find him on the substitute bench. But yeah, as may be expected, as Portsmouth coming forward again, and it's a good run forward by Sadie. Slide challenge comes in, ball is
So a
knocked
quick
out from
look
the
at that.
side. Portsmouth starting this second half like they started the first, on the front foot.
So a defender off for Oxford and another defender on. So we're just sort of
To get a shot right there, and it's a lovely siding challenge by
more attacking though. So we should see even more attacking from Oxford. Let's see if it leaves a bit of a gap if they start attacking more. So Mothersill, Donnelly for Peterborough. Cross. Oh no, it goes as far as Randall. Back to Poku. Poku's playing a steady role today. He's not as he's not running forward quite as much as what he did in the last game I saw him. Wally, Brady now going into the corner, pass it forward into Donnelly. Donnelly in the corner crosses it, but Freeston kicks it out. But only back to Donnelly, and Donnelly can try and cross it back in. Collins. Collins now. So Peterborough are starting on the ascendancy there. Huddersfield has just started. Barnsley now. You see Barnsley and Humphreys. Let's see whether they can get into midfield. They proved that they could right at the end of the first half, but they lose it in midfield. Sorensen passes it to Chapman, and Chapman now will build for Huddersfield from the back. And this is what we're seeing. Pass it forward. Oh, they lose it. Barnsley lose it in the box, and Radalovic has a shot just off target, and it bounces out without a corner. It was just an insane thing. Losing it in the box there was just no pressure at all. And Radalovic has a shot, and it's go for a corner kick here as well. So Huddersfield are showing the same assertiveness, and Barnsley are showing the same let's give it away. So it doesn't look like Barnsley are going to win this one. Let's go Burnley versus Preston. This was a lot more even than we thought it would be a lot more even than this, but Burnley are actually quite well in the ascendancy, I think, and Preston have started to come back actually in that first half. It's 57% possession to Burnley, 5 shots, 1 on target, no goals. Preston 7 shots, 1 on target, no goals. So it's actually quite even. Burnley were quite well. They were always in that when they got the ball, they were always pushing quite well forward. But we seem to have had a couple of shots extra for Preston. So watch it, Lucas and Trafford for Burnley. Burnley passing it on the defence at the minute. Mabry. Mabry running forward, trying to get to halfway, pushes it through to the far side, but one of the Preston guys kicks it out for a Burnley throw-in in the middle of their half on the Burnley left. Short to Perez, Estev, Riley. In the middle. They're taking it to the right. No, back to the middle. Back to the right again with Roberts. Anthony on the right. Cullen. Back to Anthony. Roberts. Just not getting very far at the minute. Riley. That wall of white is just stopping Burnley getting through as they try a through ball, but Story gets it for Preston. Pass it back to Lindsay. Lindsay to Hughes.
Portsmouth.
Hughes
John Messina
will
won that.
pass it back to Woodman, and they'll build from the back. Hughes. So Burnley, Hughes tries passing it forward, but Esteve grabs it for Burnley. But Hayden Kelsa Hayden grabs it and has a shot, but it's no, he gets kicked before he gives a shot out, and he's injured.
Knock one inside. Goodrum gets it back after a little deflection. He's forced out wide. Is there
So,
a nudge on him? No. Oh, Goodrum putting in play by him.
We'll leave that one alone. Kessler Hayden is now on the floor.
It'll be a free kick. Jordan Williams can't believe it, but I don't know why he can't believe it, because he gets nutmegged. It's brilliant play by Goodrum. Knocks it through the legs, and then he just stops. He just barges into him. I mean, it's a free kick all day long. Don't know what footballers believe at times when they play, but they obviously feel like they're a picture of innocence, which they are not. There's a free kick chance here for Oxford then. You've got Goodrum sort of peeling out towards the left corner of the penalty area for the short
Wait for
ball,
Oxford.
he's sort of being half-marshalled here as it's an eye towards the far post. So there is Lee trying to bring it down.
Portsmouth kick it out, but only as far as Mazzuni. Back to come in, kicks it out, but McIntyre gives to Williams. Williams loses it to Rodriguez. Dear Lord. Oh, header football in the middle. Who's going to come out with it? Portsmouth come out with it. Poole, Schmidt.
Will try and come forward again. Start going backwards.
Oh, please. They lose it on the corner. Portsmouth are not doing well there at all. They'll be lucky to get out of that with a 0-0 draw, I think. Let's go to the Norwich game, which was actually, like I said, the Norwich game. And Hull City have a shot on target, and Balumi. Balumi's the one with the shot from the right-hand side, short, tight angle, but it's flagged as offside. It was a very good shot, that. Offside, though. And Long will kick it out to Cordoba. And Norwich will start from the back. Slimane Doyle for Norwich City Saints. Hughes cuts that one out. Jones. There's a Hull City will be upset that they've not, or disappointed that they've not managed to do a couple of more of these shots on target. They're certainly behind on the shots on target stats. Durama, Panda, Jones, Panda, Durama, passing it along the back very nicely, but Hull lose it, and McLean can take it into the left-hand corner for Norwich. Gets kicked out. It's a throw in. Could get it into the edge of the box, but does it short to Karnak. Back to Duffy.
Here's a good looking one. There's an opportunity now as the man waiting in the middle there, trying to find Omani with Sadie, and he just delayed it too long then. It was really
Karnak,
good work by
Portsmouth did well there.
Help out his side, but tell you what, for a moment, Sadie has to play this early. He has about 3 lookups to his right, then he knows where his teammate is, just has to play
Cordoba.
They do have themselves a corner.
Norwich City.
They do
Back to Long.
this opportunity. In swinging delivery
Sergeant.
towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It flashes past and it'll be picked up before it goes out of play here by Gregory Lee. He's attempted clearance down the line. Hits off the closing down Portsmouth player. In
Fisher.
Behind for a goal kick.
Cordoba. Playing it nicely along the back four at the minute. Norwich, they're just sort of tapping it along the back, one side to the other. Oh, he misses it and it goes out for a Hull throw. See, that's it. If you pass it along the back and you miss it, then you're going to let the opposition. And he gives short to Miller, and Miller now for Hull City is going to the corner, and I think that's a corner to Hull City, which will be interesting. 51 minutes. So that one comes back out to Miller. kicks it in, but Norwich City are equal with that, and he kicks it back out and comes back in again, and Long kicks it back out for Norwich City, and only as far as Hughes, and just through ball there, not good enough, and McLean will get it and tap it across from the left hand side of Norwich through to Milan. Carnac grabs it, but Hughes intercepts that one for Hull City, and Hull City tapping out. Nunes has a shot, but it's off target, and Jones grabs it as it bounces off a defender, and that's out for a corner. Norwich City are certainly shooting more often, and it's more often on target. Oh no, hang on a minute. No, it's a penalty to Norwich. It's a penalty to Norwich. They've given a penalty to Norwich, and if I go to my other sheet, we will just put that in here. Put that in there.
So Anne Edwards delivers a ball into the box. Oh, brilliant diving header and into the bottom right corner. And Portsmouth have taken the lead. And
Portsmouth are in the lead. It's a goal after, and it's gone completely the wrong. Well, I say it the right way, but it's totally against the run of play. And a header from Portsmouth, and it's Portsmouth 1, Oxford 0.
Absolutely crucial goal for them as they search.
We wait for the Norwich City penalty.
Murphy down the left digs out a lovely ball. It's a brilliant
and we're waiting for the penalty.
Just sort of flicks it, glances it off the forehead.
Let's have a go here. Penalty to Norwich
No chance for the goalkeeper. It's just
to make it 3-0 as Mahoney.
Oh,
and it's saved. A saved penalty by Norwich. Hull City save the penalty. So, well, which way shall we put it? We'll put it as a Norwich penalty miss. Dink, there we are. We'll put that one in there for you guys to have a look at, as we have.
Went for the pass instead of the shot there as Portsmouth try and come forward again. That one's overrun though by Poole, and now
and Hull City cross it in, but Slimane kicks it out, and Hull City survive and go straight up the other end, but just can't get a shot off. And this has been the story of the game so far. Hull City are not way behind as it looks, but they've just saved a penalty. They cross it in, and Slater has a shot off target again. They just can't get a shot on target, Hull City. What are the stats on this? 11 shots, 4 on target. They must have had 3 shots on target in the second half, because they were dreadful in the first half. 1 shot on target, I think it was. Now it's 11 shots, 4 on target. Substitution for Norwich now, and I think Norwich will be pulling back slightly now. They're 57 minutes. Looks like they're going to try and just edge that defensive line backwards a little. It's still Burnley 0, Preston 0, as Preston have started to look quite happy. They don't seem to be very overwhelmed by Burnley. Mahoney's just scored for Portsmouth. Portsmouth 1, Oxford 0. Got that on there. Norwich City 2, Hull 0, but that's quite even. Into League 1, and we've got Peterborough 1, Stevenage 0, and that is extremely even, that game. That is as Stevenage will have gone in at half time thinking, how the hell are we 1-0 down? It should well easily be even Stevens there, but Peterborough have got the goal. They've got the ball in the net, and that's all that counts. We go to Huddersfield versus Barnsley now, and this has been. Well, the stats don't really. The stats say 61% to Huddersfield. It just feels like so much more. Huddersfield are running this game, and Barnsley just can't get out of that back third. They got it with Earl at the minute. Oh, they managed to get into Cosgrove, and then for the first time they crossed it to JLo on the right hand side, on the left hand side, and JLo loses it to Kasumu, and Kasumu will try and get that one out for Huddersfield, and Huddersfield are going to build again from the back, and O'Keefe intercepts, but Miller grabs that through ball. And Miller can try and build one. See, they don't seem to be panicking, Huddersfield, and just kicking it out. What seems to happen is they play it, and they get the ball in defence. They play it across defence because there doesn't seem to be anything that they're worried about. They're quite at ease. They're at home. They're possession-wise and certainly shots. As Spencer runs into it, kicks it, shoots at goal, and it's another shot on target for Huddersfield. They well it out the full length of the pitch. A few headers, and it comes to O'Keefe just outside the box for Barnsley. What can you do here? O'Keefe now on 64 minutes, and it's. Corner for Barnsley.
No joy there though, as Portsmouth again launch the ball forward themselves, and now a little chip ball over the top. Maybe an opportunity here.
Corner for Barnsley comes in. Chapman gets it. Lundvik and gives it to Wiles, and Wiles will build from the left hand side for Huddersfield. So pretty poor corner from Barnsley. Sorensen, Spencer crosses it in, but Barnsley's goalie grabs that one. So my nose keeps itching. It's really annoying. I suppose it's probably annoying for you lot. It really is annoying for me as well. Roberts for Barnsley. We're going to try in defence. We'll try and see what we can do. They've managed to get into midfield. Craig, Benson. That's twice they've done it. They've managed to do it twice in a row now. They've managed to get from the defence into midfield. That's something Barnsley couldn't do in the first half or the beginning of the second half. As 66 minutes now. Earl to Benson. Benson now for Barnsley on the right hand side. Back to Rob on the left hand side. Back to Roberts. Right hand side, but Hodge intercepts that, gives it to Radalovic for Huddersfield. Pretty dangerous situation down the left. Crosses it in, but Roberts kicks that one out on 66 minutes. And it's a corner to Huddersfield. Huddersfield now with a corner. Let's see what they get.
3 points it would be for them. Keeps them in touch with those. Still a long way to go, obviously, but
and we've still got 63 minutes at Portsmouth, Oxford, as you can hear on the sound there. It's still 1-0 to Portsmouth, and totally against the run of play as we wait for the Huddersfield corner. Oh, and it gets kicked straight out to poor corner, goes straight out to the opposite side for it's been deflected and kicked out by Barnsley, and it's a Huddersfield throw-in short to Kasumu, right on their right. From their right-hand corner, crosses it in, but Craig wellies it out to the halfway line, and it goes out for a throw-in to Huddersfield Town. Barnsley are holding on to this like nobody's business. They're grabbing onto wanting this. If they can get into the final third, they're doing quite well, but they just can't get there. Kasumu. Although they are getting into that midfield a little bit more in the last sort of 5 minutes, and as Hodge tries to prove me wrong and goes into the right-hand corner, Craig grabs it
possession
Benson,
back.
Craig,
The referee,
Earl
Senior was
crosses it. Oh, Wiles intercepts that one, and he can cross it into the box if he's good. But he's still playing 1-2s and 68 minutes. Another corner for Huddersfield. The Miller for Huddersfield. Longvik, Hodge. Hodge now. Shot on target. Slanina dribbles that one out. But what's happened? What's happened here? Oh, he's kicked it forward to Connell. Connell, right in the Huddersfield box. What can Connell do? The odds have disappeared. Keeler done. O'Keefe crosses it in, but Pearson is equal to that one and kicks it out to Radalovic. And that was close there for Barnsley. Barnsley doing so well. Roberts now. And when Barnsley have it, they're doing quite well. Roberts now, back to Earl. Earl across, down into J-Lo. J-Lo in the box. J-Lo. And what are we on? Still 69 minutes. No, we're still... what's happened here? It's my lives just for what I was following for Barnsley has just disappeared. 69 minutes. Come on, give me my Huddersfield game back. This is annoying when it goes off. Just at the wrong bloody time. Barnsley were really, really pushing, and I've not got anything to give you. At the minute, 60-40 in possession. Huddersfield are making a substitution. So we're taking a break now. So Barnsley are now coming back into this, and Barnsley has started to, as we've got another goal at Norwich City, and this must be the final breaking point, and it'll be so disappointing for Hull, who have been playing quite well, and it's not 3-0 is not the story of the game. Norwich City aren't really that far in advance of Hull City, but they are, because that's how many times they got it in the net. We go to Burnley because the odds have stopped at Burnley. That usually means something's happened. Yellow card there for Burnley. So the a yellow card for Preston as well, and a yellow card for Burnley. Oh, we're having the yellow cards handed out by the dozen at Burnley. So something's gone off at Burnley. Shall we see what? It probably won't advertise it if it's 60. Second of those. So yellow card for Benjamin Whiteman of Preston on 54. A yellow card for Lyle Foster of Burnley on 66. A yellow card for Scott Parker of Burnley on 67. A yellow card for Paul Heckingbottom from Preston on 67. A yellow card for Alistair McCann for Preston on 69. My God, what is this? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yellow cards at Burnley. 5 in the last... Well, 4 in the last 3 minutes. So, yeah. McCullen now. Sorry, Cullen for Burnley. Still Burnley 0, Preston 0. And what may be interesting to see, where are all those yellow cards? Because for Burnley, it's just the one, and it's in attack with Lyle Foster. But for Preston, it's 1 in midfield, 1 in the floating role, 1 in midfield. 1, 2, 3. And the goalkeeper. Yeah, the goalie's got one as well. Bloody hell. Wow.
since.
So if we go to commentary,
try and get their side.
that's strange. He must have been arguing, because if the goalkeeper gets a yellow card, that's a penalty, isn't it? So he must have been arguing with the referee. As
down the right now, maybe an opportunity. Lovely ball in field, then Sibley, then shot from the edge of the area and into the back of the net. And there it is.
it's 1-1. It's 1-1, and Oxford have equalised. It's Portsmouth 1. Oxford 1, and Portsmouth just cannot get that first win, can they? It's Norwich City 3, Hull City 0, Portsmouth 1, Oxford 1. Burnley Preston is a yellow card nightmare, and we've had 4 yellow cards at Burnley in the last within 3 minutes. We had 54, in the second half we had 54 minutes yellow card for Ben Whiteman, 66 minutes yellow card for Lyle Foster, 67 minutes yellow card for Scott Parker, 67 minutes yellow card for Paul Heckingbottom, and 69 minutes yellow card for Alistair McCann. It's going mad at Burnley. As we look at the... Oh, and Stevenage, what did I say? Stevenage would have been absolutely... Well, they'd have been the more upset of the two for going in 1-0 down. They were playing... It was a really even Stevens match, and now it is indeed... Peterborough 1, Stevenage 1, and Stevenage have got that equaliser as Oxford get the equaliser at Portsmouth. And wow, we're on to sort of 73, 74, 75 minutes. Huddersfield, Barnsley and Burnley Preston are the only games without a goal. Let's just go to Huddersfield Barnsley, where Huddersfield were in the ascendancy. Substitution for Barnsley now, so let's see whether they can change this around. Let's see if the stats have said anything's changed recently, and yeah, not really. Barnsley just aren't getting into that scoring situation and getting it on target, unfortunately. Whereas Huddersfield are having plenty of shots, just not as many as they would like on target. Although they've had 6 on target, they should really be doing better from 6 shots. Huddersfield. Portsmouth nearly scored then, and that was so unlucky. Portsmouth should be 2-1 up there. Sibley equalises for Oxford on 72. It's still danger inside the 6-yard box as Oxford tried to clear the lines, is then hooked up into the air. Not a great clearance at all, and eventually the referee has blown for a free kick to Oxford. Peterborough, Portsmouth are in the attacking. For ages they've been hemmed back by Oxford, and whenever Portsmouth get the ball, but they don't keep it. Huddersfield, on the other hand, are probably doing an Oxford. They've got the ball, and they're getting some shots in, but they're just not getting them in the net. As J-Lo intercepted that for Barnsley in the box, but Marshall takes it off him, and that was and walks into the clears it. Givney for Barnsley on the halfway line, and Barnsley can try and muster from back. Cosgrove, Benson loses it again to Longvik, and this midfield just doesn't seem to be able to cope with the Huddersfield line. He takes down one of the Huddersfield players, Miller, and Miller is now injured.
See the replays of it now.
At the minute, Huddersfield look the more likely to score. Burnley versus Preston. This has been a pretty even game, but Burnley have been looking more likely. Burnley have looked more dangerous, but the game itself is quite even, although Burnley have looked more, I think, a lot more dangerous than what Preston have. Preston, Hughes pushes it forward, Brownhill kicks it out, header, football tennis again, isn't it? Fleming gets it, manages to keep the ball and give it to Roberts, and Burnley in midfield now, Cullen. Esteve, Pires on the left hand side, Marshall, Pires, one good 1-2, Pires back to Colusho, and Burnley just can't get through at the minute. Anthony on the right, they've swapped sides, crosses it in, but Hughes gives it to Holmes, and Preston can try and burst out down the middle. Holmes on the left hand side.
He stopped the play now, the referee, and he's come over to have a word with one of the stewards. So, players still, I don't know what's going on at the moment. Say.
How's the referee gone over to see one of the stewards?
So the referee stopped playing because everyone's coming over and having a drink.
Is that what he's doing? Just giving him a drink? Very strange.
I don't know anything's happened to any spectators in the crowd. I'm not too sure. Well, all this is happening. Portsmouth are getting ready to make a substitute.
No, it's Portsmouth 1, Oxford 1. Burnley are now, they clear their lines from a Preston cross. Gets to Riley, and Riley can try and just play this on the back, and we have Port Burnley 0, Preston 0, but there doesn't seem. Lyle Foster is now injured for Burnley. They'll be hoping that's not going to be serious. And Preston get it underway. Wasn't good.
There's an opportunity now as Dembele is bearing down on goal in the penalty area. Right for the strike, and he puts it wide. There was just enough pressure there from the defender trying to get back and cover. Siriki Dembele, the pace that he has, looked as if he'd done enough then to get himself a clear-sighted goal, which it was.
Oxford nearly getting in to get the winner there. That would have been heartbreak for Portsmouth at home. As Trafford blocks one on the line for Preston and for Burnley. Preston really quite putting the pressure on at the minute. Trafford will just what will we do with this? He's going to. It looks like a corner. Is it a corner? 79 minutes.
Just shows how easily chances can be created by mistakes at the back. As Portsmouth now are trying to create their own opportunity. Ball is bouncing around midway through Oxford's half. It drops down towards the
the corner, I think.
He tries to flick it down the line. He's looking for
Preston.
Should be dealt with
But
here.
Trafford clears this one for Burnley, and Riley, Esteve to Pires down the left hand side for Burnley. And Burnley are now building again into midfield. They're trying to get this ball down the left. Colosho, well, down the right now. Crossed it to the right hand side for Anthony. And Anthony, 79 minutes. What can he do on the right hand side? At the minute, Burnley lose it. They just can't keep it in. And it's a Preston throw in. But they try crossing it to the Preston right. And Burnley intercept it. But not for very long, because Kessler Hayden's managed to grab that one. Pushes it forward to Jakobsen, and the right hand side for Preston. crosses it short, but to the near side post. But Perez is there to kick that one out. And 82 minutes now, and we have another corner, and this time let's see what Preston can do with a corner. Oh, we have a goal we have a goal at Huddersfield. We have a goal at Huddersfield, and it's Huddersfield 1, Barnsley 0. We were saying that all the pressure was from Huddersfield, and it's paid off for the Huddersfield side, and it's now Huddersfield 1, Barnsley 0. It's Peterborough 1, Stevenage 1, Portsmouth 1, Oxford 1 as Oxford pull back, and another goal at Norwich, and it's all over. It's gonna be all over. It's Norwich 4, Hull City 0, and let's just see who's got all those goals for Norwich, shall we?
Into the back of them, which forced them to go over. See where the referee has given that one.
We have on 16 minutes Nunes, 20 minutes Sargent, 66 minutes the sub Gordon, and then just now on 78 Saints for Norwich, and it is all over at Norwich. Norwich 4, Hull City 0. It's still 1-0 to Liverpool, by the way, if anybody's interested. Portsmouth 1, Oxford 0. Portsmouth missing a penalty, and Oxford really pressing quite hard. But when Portsmouth lost that lead, they nearly regained it, and then Oxford went straight to the other end, and they nearly. Dembele again. Oxford nearly took the lead, and then they're pressing again, Oxford, and it's looking like Portsmouth are broke.
Still coming forward, Sadie. Nothing past really into the feet of Elias Sorensen, and they've had to go all the way back inside their own half now. Well, what an
just not good enough.
Portsmouth,
let's go to the Huddersfield Barnsley game. And it's Ben Wiles that scored for Huddersfield. The old Rotherham guy has scored for Huddersfield.
Murphy into the box, left-footed shot, cross comes in, all and it's tipped away by the goalkeeper behind for a corner. Brilliant reactions there by Jamie Cumming. Murphy just goes for power. He tries to smash it towards the far corner, and he hoped that he either scores.
Portsmouth nearly scoring again, and Portsmouth are pressing. They're wanting to get their first win of the season. They've just let one in to Lewis Sibley on 72. Portsmouth corner. No. Cumming collects that one, and it's. We'll go back to the Huddersfield game, and it's Huddersfield have just scored through Ben Wiles, and it's Huddersfield 1, Barnsley 0 as Earl grabs it for Barnsley in the midfield. They just haven't been there hasn't been a connection between defence and midfield. Barnsley seem to just lose it as soon as it gets in midfield, and once again they pump it into midfield, Barnsley, and it goes out for a Huddersfield throw in, and Barnsley just don't seem to have this. Where's the connection gone? It's as if they're in two different countries. They just don't seem to be interconnecting. The pass between the back third and the middle third just isn't there. Barnsley are making another substitution, and they're going to have to make a good one at this point. It's 87 minutes. They could do something. But it's going to be very, very tight. Roberts, Connell, Pearson, back to Barnsley for a throw-in. We're coming to the last few minutes, and anybody on like and subscribe, give me a few comments. A few comments would be nice. It always gives YouTube a nice time. It means that next week YouTube will put me higher up the list if you give me a few comments. Well, please do comment, even if it's hello. Just give me a comment. Love it. Earl Roberts
cross it into flats off Keoso. And that
Roberts now for Barnsley. Can Barnsley get anything from this? De Givney. O'Keefe. Back to De Givney. De Givney now for Barnsley. They're certainly holding it in midfield. Oh, they look. What does I say that? Russell loses it but grabs it back again. And free kick to Barnsley. I don't.
What can he do? Left hand side of the box. The toe comes in from Keoso, puts it out for another throw. Murphy was going to come and take this throw quickly, but he just gives it towards Ogilvie, who will take it.
There's a free kick, I think, to Barnsley.
Time to go, plus stoppage time. Portsmouth 1, Oxford 1.
We're on 89 minutes. And Barnsley at the minute are trying to get past this back line of Huddersfield's and just not managing to get anywhere with it.
Keoso was just stronger in the challenge there. I think he's just trying to say it.
Chapman intercepts that, forces it down to Kane, and then Earl taps it out for a throw-in to Huddersfield, and it's in a dangerous position, and Huddersfield could actually put this one beyond the reach of Barnsley. Huddersfield, who've been playing pretty poorly for the class of people they've got in their team in the last few games, look like winning this. Russell to Connell for Barnsley, but Connell loses it to Kasumu in a dangerous position. Kasumu could put this away. Could put this past Barnsley as we hit 90 minutes. And Huddersfield get a yellow card. 5 minutes extra time at Huddersfield. Let's just move away. We've got 5 minutes extra time. Barnsley are taking it away with Connell as we pull out. Norwich City 4. Hull City 0. Portsmouth 1. Oxford 1. Burnley 0. Preston 0.
Referee has given a free kick to Oxford because there was offside against Harvey Blair there. Brown with the button looking to
Huddersfield 1, Barnsley 0. Peterborough 1, Stevenage 1. 10-man Grimsby 0, Doncaster 3 if you're interested. Liverpool still 1-0 up at Crystal Palace, 88 minutes. And it is getting very close. 88 minutes at Burnley, 86 minutes at Norwich, 89 minutes at Portsmouth, 91 minutes of 95 at Huddersfield, and 89 minutes at Peterborough. Let's just look at what the extra time will be at Portsmouth. We'll just get the data up for that one. We've got another 30 seconds before we find what the extra time is. Portsmouth 1, Oxford 1, as Oxford have a throw-in in their own half. But Portsmouth grab it. Pack.
In the 9th minute is the decisive one in that game so far.
Gets it forward, but Brown, this cross from the right just wasn't any good. Will Vault eventually gets it for Oxford and runs it towards the right hand side of the box, but Ogilvie will his head, and it's 4 minutes extra time as it finds its way via a welly into the Oxford half. And then Lee, Dembele passes it back, and Dembele passes it into defence, and it's almost like it's that Oxford are quite happy to get a 1-1 draw here. Keoso, bad ball there. Poole grabs it, and Swanson can try and keep it, I would hope, for Portsmouth. And he doesn't, he loses it to Volks, but Volks and Richie having a header tennis. and it eventually crosses into Potts in the middle.
Dembele, does he get the ball
Pack.
towards the teammate? He does.
No.
Brilliant sliding challenge that comes in.
Crow into Murphy. Murphy, Kyoso did a good clearance there.
Murphy then towards the edge of the penalty area.
Substitution.
He goes, tries to play a ball towards the far post.
Substitution for Portsmouth.
Off Kyoso. I have to say, Kyoso's defended really, really well against Murphy.
And so we're very short, very close to the end there. Let's look at the others. Keeping a close eye on it as things start to finish now. 93 minutes of 95 at Huddersfield. Huddersfield 1, Barnsley 0. Peterborough 1, Stevenage 1. 92 minutes of 94 as Peterborough try and build. And it looks like that's going to be 2 minutes left to get a winner for either of those sides. One Huddersfield now have 1 minute to hang on to win the game. Ogley, Portsmouth nearly getting a chance at a goal there to win it on the last 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, very close then. Not a bad effort from Ogley. We had to do a lot to try and score ahead of the edge of the area.
Let's go into it. Let's have a look at this. No, it's an Oxford goal kick. But he kicks it out to. Oh, it's a bit of a header tennis. We don't need header tennis as at 93 minutes of 94. Header tennis and everybody's down on the floor. Doesn't look like that's going anywhere. We've got another goal at Huddersfield and it's Huddersfield 2, Barnsley 0. Huddersfield have put this out of reach of Barnsley in the last minute of extra time, and it's Huddersfield 2, Barnsley 0. And Barnsley just couldn't get back into it. Where was that defence? Where was the midfield? It was the link between defence and midfield. Just not there all game. And that's been the story of the game, I'm afraid, guys. It's been very much one of...
Peterborough 1, Stevenage 1. Fleetwood Bromley's finished 0-0 and 10-man Grimsby is still 3-0 down. Both Doncaster as they enter stoppage time, Donny been 3-0 up since the break. Long downfield and 10 seconds before added on to go. Battling away is Dembele, but he's been beaten to it.
None of these games have actually finished, mate. I think you've got that one wrong. Peterborough 1, Stevenage 0. Peterborough 1, Stevenage 1. And it's now, we've had a goal, we've had a winner. We've had a winner at Peterborough. We've had a winner at Peterborough, and it's Peterborough 2, Stevenage 0. And Peterborough have nicked it in the dying moments. Stevenage will be gutted. Stevenage will be gutted. Portsmouth 0, Portsmouth 1, Oxford 1 is a final result. Huddersfield 2, Barnsley 0 is a final result. Peterborough 2, Stevenage 1 is still playing, but that looks like being over now. Norwich City 4, Hull City 0 is 92 minutes. Go away. So that looks like being over. And we're seeing the results coming in now. Burnley still 0-0. I'll just see if any of these can provide a last minute shock of a goal. 7 minutes extra time at Burnley. We'll just watch this because it is 2:30, nearly 2:30, and I do need to look at the next live stream. So we'll just wait for this Burnley throw in and see if it gets into the box. Burnley looking to take this in the last 3 minutes of, or 2 minutes now of normal time. Just see how it goes. Come on, take the throw in. Come on, Burnley. Take the throw in, quick. It goes to Lindsay, kicks it out, but only as far as Riley. Riley has a shot and it's off target. So we're going to leave it, and we're leaving it now with it's Peterborough 2, Stevenage 1 is now a final result. Norwich City 4, Hull City 0. Still has another 1 minute and 20 seconds, but I don't think they're going to score 4 goals in 1 minute and 20 seconds. And Burnley has a couple of minutes left, and that's 0-0. Thank you for watching. We're going to quickly have a drink and set up for the 3 o'clock games. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in about 10 minutes time to quickly go through the sides, or as many sides as we can, for the 3 o'clock games. This time we'll be starting with the Championship and going down through the sides. But do join me again in about 10-15 minutes, and we will go through the League One and Championship games for 3 o'clock. John S. Sports Channel signing out for another